and
I like Waldorf and Statler. Is that enough?
I don't think they probably have nothing to do with this, but we'll find out. Anyway, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Smudcast number 905. How to spot a bad critic. A video essay. Now, this is by a guy called Accented Cinema. I think we might have covered him before because I remember his accent, this Asian gentleman. And I think we were okay with it. I think we liked the video. I think he did a good job. He did very good editing. And I think there was a disconnect between what he was saying and the script he submitted. So we were like, look at the subtitles. Like, that doesn't quite match up. So it was a while back. It was at least a year ago. So I can't remember what we covered. But it was pretty good. So this is a 14-minute video. Came out 7 days ago. Has 60,000 views for a 500+K channel. Not bad. I like the comments so far because it's always nice to hear what people have to say about YouTube and the critics on YouTube and all the crazy people who like doing long form essays, and they're usually politically motivated to say so, as we have covered before. So I don't think that is the definition of a bad critic, but any kind of bias that gets in the way of trying to be as objective and as analytical as possible is a detriment to the idea of criticism, whether you're doing literary criticism or cinema or painting or poetry. It doesn't matter. You have to be skilled in that area and specific to that area. And we're not going to get into the history of that because we can go as far back as Plato and Hume and Kant and all these other great guys and say what is really important and what is objective, what is subjective, what is universal, that sort of thing. And it's a lot to study. And I'm always reading up on modern philosophy and how that relates to aesthetics. But for the most part, I think this YouTuber is just going to be very straightforward, talking about movies, games, whatever. And that's what we get on YouTube anyway. So
yeah,
should be fine.
To know what a bad critic is, we need to define what a good critic is.
Yeah, that's
the bad one lacks that.
It's kind of like something's off. Like, I don't know what. You don't have to know exactly why something's off, but if they're putting too much attention to one detail, or they're focusing on the emotion of something as opposed to the actual substance. And
well, you can add the emotion, but you first need to talk about the substance. You need to understand the thing objectively as much as possible.
It's not like we have to define what a movie is, but if they don't know, or if they have this weird movie like film school definition that they think movies are just moving pictures, so anything counts, as opposed to genre. So
do you have a story? Do you have a story structure and such things? And does it work?
Why do you have a story? That's very important. Why is there characters coming in and out? Why is there a beginning, middle, and end? What's the purpose? What's the plot? Like, you need to know these basic things before you go, oh, by the way, I love Star Wars. Everything is great. It's fun and cool and action packed, and you don't have to think. It's for everyone. It's for kids, and you shouldn't use your.
Yeah, and it's just. Yeah, no, that's horrible because that implies that kids do not logic. Kids do not think.
Right.
And if they don't think, they certainly don't learn. If then it's just moving picture. Then it is truly just moving pictures with random flashing lights.
And we have had studies.
That's not a movie.
We've had studies on children's psychology regarding entertainment for kids and why it works. And believe it or not, some studies from I'd say 10 years ago are focused on stories that have a character with a goal, which is basically a plot, and they are happier to watch those programs or read those books because they can understand the motivations more, because it's part of the journey process for these stories.
Yeah, it says if the people who think that children don't need anything that makes sense have this, I don't think they're aware. I don't think they're conscious of this fallacy in their heads that begs the question: well, how does a child turn into an adult? Is it just a switch that flips and suddenly you can logic and stuff?
Yeah, we want to know why the characters on the screen are doing what they're doing, and children go, oh, why is Batman doing what oh, his parents died. I understand. If that were to happen, I'd be really scared. And then I would dedicate my life to stopping this from happening again. So little things that...
Become Batman.
Well, kids already want to be Batman. They don't have to have a reason. They just want to be Batman. So,
Everybody wants to be Batman.
From a child level as well, for sure. So it's a very primal thing, but they also need that extra layer and go, wow, now I understand it on the same thing you already like on a different level. That really resonates with kids, and it's not that complicated. So, all right, 14-minute video. Let's get going.
Yeah, there's one more thing I would add. Sure. One more thing. That is, so the critic in you, for that is sufficient to be objective, understand the matter, and maybe the theory about what you are critiquing, and you can model the theory out of what you're interacting with. That's how you map the world. But for the public critic who tells others of the critique, it helps when you can be a bit entertaining in your delivery, because that is you are then yourself telling a story, and stories is what entertains us. The problem happens when you are a good entertainer, but you are not correct. And sadly, we've seen that with a couple of the bigger YouTube critics who tend to be pretty good, and then they have blunders where you wonder, like, did you actually watch the thing? Did you actually play the game? Or what are you gushing about?
Yeah, the emotional elements, the bias of a favorite. You have a knowledge that the thing is in fact a flawed piece of work, but there's something about it you can't quite describe, and that's usually subjective. So biases are always there. We all have our own biases. Mine is objective critique. That's my bias, because I go through the list of criteria, and if you're assuming not the subjective universal, but you're assuming that this is dispassionate, and you have a criteria, and this is following a standard that you've observed before, then it's no longer subjective. It's something that you can just give to anyone, and they can make the same observations, come to the same conclusions. So that's...
Wouldn't that be the absence of a bias?
Well, that's what we're striving for. It's never 100%, right? So you always have a preference toward the criteria, and the criteria is the same thing. There could be a big criteria or a small one, and the only difference is the weight you give to each element. So let's say plot is number one for you, so that's going to be a big deal. If everything's logical, people are acting the way they should, that's going to be a big value, and you need that in certain genres like detective fiction, or else there's no point. Everything's crazy, everything's random, and the detective comes at the end and says, yep, you did it. And you're like, what? How? Explain it. So you need to have certain weights for certain elements in different genres, for sure. And there should be a critic for just certain genres, even though we're still talking about like movies or games or whatever, books maybe, and then different media as well. So, but this is more generic, I bet. I don't think he's going to go into that much detail. So let's get going.
Vince Clortho, Keymaster of Gozer. Volka Sildro, Lord of the Sabulia. Are you the gatekeeper?
Well, I guess I am now. This video is sponsored by Squarespace.
Ah.
Oh no.
Why?
Can we skip that?
That was it. I think that was the advertising.
I know this video may be interpreted as an attack, but let me be clear, I'm not calling anyone specific. Jokes aside, do not harass whoever you believe to be a bad critic. It makes you a piece of shit, and it helps spread their nonsense anyway. This video is just a tool to help you spot bad reviews, formulated from my personal experience of doing the exact stupid shit I'm about to criticize.
Oh no.
Finally, remember, the dose makes the poison. 1, 2, or even 10 videos do not invalidate someone's entire body of work.
If those 10 videos are all the same and they're wrong on every front, then, I mean, the first 2 are all you need. So.
I think 10 is a pretty big number.
Yeah, I think after the first 2, you'd be like, all right, I gave this guy a pass. I'll try a second time. And then it's like, whoa, that's the same crap. So no.
Yeah, 3 is the pattern established.
Yeah, well, you'd be wasting your time at that. And we encountered that with Fish, with not Red Letter Media, Renegade Cut, the Cavernacle, a few other guys who aren't as big. And we went, yeah, this is the same song and dance every time. It's blame capitalism, America bad, man bad, white man bad. Like every ism is just wrong, and they want something different. They want something that only appeals to them, whatever that might even magically be.
The only other thing we've encountered was when Critical Drinker and EFAB were all of a sudden completely blind on the message.
Oh,
when it was about a game that they like.
I see. I didn't catch that.
As well as Smart. There was the whole God of War Ragnarok thing.
I know, but I never played the game and I never got into it. I just reviewed the.
So you just let us take it apart.
It's like, what are you talking about? It's like, okay, fine.
Oh God, no. I keep the box closed. But the other thing there was, do I still have the fort? Damn, it's running away.
Anyway, the drinker.
I hate when that happens.
All right. Well, when their biases get the better of them, or they like a thing and it overclouds their brain. And
I remember when Drinker was on. I don't remember whose thing. I think it was with Gundam. With It's a Gundam, and at the end, no, it was somebody else. I don't remember. Drinker was on somebody else's thing, and at the end, he shilled for the remake of Shogun, which is a woke nonsense fest that has all the characters inverted.
Huh.
And he just said he hadn't seen it yet, but he was told it was pretty good. And I was like, dude, how can you, as a film critic, give that recommendation without having seen it, when we are in a time of woke remakes that all share the message, and the remake was nothing but the message? I don't know if he had revoked his recommendation, or whether he had reviewed this thing finally. I doubt he did. I simply haven't watched Drinker since the whole God of War thing, I believe.
Well, I do.
Because ever since then, I can't. The moment somebody shields that hard for the opposite of what he stood for, he's gone. I forget he exists.
Yeah.
Same with EFAB.
I do. I mean, I'm not as perfect as I'd like to think I am. Obviously, I make mistakes, and certain scenes in certain shows or games I miss, and people have to tell me, "Oh, you missed that," or "This didn't happen the way you remember." So I appreciate getting feedback from even you guys on the panel. So it's helpful. But as a whole, I don't think I skip the theme. I don't think I skip the overall message of the story or the function of the story. It's kind of obvious. That's the kind of the point of media when you see it, not from like a Aristotelian view of like cathartic functions or modes to feel better after you watch a play or something, but the actual, like, what's the character trying to do? Why are they doing it that way? What's the signal giving to the audience? That sort of obvious stuff. So, but the little things I miss, for sure. Anyway.
It's only a problem when it is a persistent trend. With all that out of the way, let the gatekeeping commence.
All right.
Mind, please. 10 is not a persistent trend. 10 instances of fucking up the same way is not a persistent trend.
What do we call that?
Maybe that's the CCP conditioning that maybe the 134th time it will work.
This person's modus operandi has been consistent for the past 10 videos. Let me think. He's going to change anytime soon? Who knows?
Why does that scene make me think of Zardos all of a sudden?
Let's address the most common misconception. that film reviews are just opinions. I don't like it.
Yeah, but they say that. It's just my opinion. It's this is just my...
I don't like it is not a critique. That's just an emotion.
Yeah.
You can explore why,
sucks.
and then you can find the critique.
A vibe-based statement like this is not critiquing anything from the film. How you feel about a movie does not necessarily reflect the film's quality. Consider an extreme case. Roger Ebert's review of The Birth of a Nation.
Ooh.
Directed by D.W. Griffith, the film pioneered the use of moving cameras, cross-cutting, and dynamic close-ups. As Ebert points out, it codified and demonstrated the language of cinema for all future films to follow. The film is also hated for its overt racism, portraying the KKK as heroic saviors of white farmers against rampaging free slaves, a legacy still infamous to this day. Facing such contradiction, Ebert wrote, "All serious moviegoers must sooner or later arrive at a point where they see a film for what it is, and not simply for what they feel about."
A little historical tidbit. When after the Civil War, the slaves were freed from one day to the other, which is what the South didn't want. They wanted gradual fading out, because it would otherwise lead to an economic and cultural, upheaval, which is exactly what happened. Yeah, then you have roaming bands of people that, because they don't have jobs anymore, like you can't call, but is slavery a real job? Yeah, we had that in Europe for hundreds of years. It was called Leibeigenschaft, which means body ownership. And it was the exact same thing. You weren't allowed to leave the farmstead. You weren't. You had to ask your lord for, can I marry that girl? And all of these things. So it was effectively the same thing. Just we did it to each other instead of foreigners. And we had a different word for it. And the funny thing is, when you look up any sites like Wikipedia or books about it, no one will ever call it slavery. But everything else in history is called slavery, which is really funny, including systems that are less harsh. But yeah, the thing is, you had problems and of roaming bands of people who didn't have anything anymore. They had no structure to go by, and that leads to a counter-reaction that wants to restore peace in some manner. And, if the KKK was that, tough luck. History is a bit more difficult, and you need not like the acting sides. You need not like either of them. It's not just good versus bad. It can be good versus good. It can be bad versus bad. Good versus good is the worst option, because that's really just a misunderstanding that leads to bloodshed. While bad versus bad, just lean back and have popcorn on yourself, because hey, that's just entertainment.
Ebert's thesis, as I understand it, is that Birth is a masterfully crafted film in service of evil. The film made real-world impact. It revived the popularity of the Klan, therefore, we must study it. And thus, his review provides context on how the film is perceived. He pointed out the film's aesthetic innovation and its unparalleled recreation of Civil War battles. He then showed how the very artistry amplifies its racist message. It is a review of the film from all angles, not a simple verdict based on opinions. A sillier example comes from essayist and part-time warlock Dan Olsen of the YouTube channel Folding Ideas.
Warlock?
Warlock? Yeah, what does he mean? Is he making a joke?
Warlord, maybe?
Warlord? Okay.
I know, they both don't really make sense, do they?
Ideas built all the 50 Shades movies. We all know those movies suck ass, but Olsen did not approach them as such.
What a great way to analyze it. It's a sucky ass film. Okay, thanks for the technical recommendation.
Considers the difficulty of making a film that functions both as a standalone and as part of a trilogy. He separates genuine missteps from problems caused by a nightmare production. and when the film did something right, he acknowledges it.
Anyway, Sam Taylor Johnson and Kelly Marcel are far better storytellers than Erica Mitchell, and they understand Mitchell's story better than she does, as evidenced by the closing moments of the film, where Anna goes to leave, Christian moves to intercept her, and she tells him no.
Stop. No.
Yeah, but was that in the book? If not, then they're interpreting the scene in their own way, in the way it should have been, or the way that the readers think it should have been. I don't know. So, it could go either way. Not sure.
He liked the film? No. But Olsen was not blinded by the film's reputation. To critique a film is not to justify our disdain. We have to put our feelings aside and explore what each film does. On our channel, we try to follow this approach, though obviously not as sharply or as scholarly as the greats. Still, while I love Mulan, I can admit its flaws. I dislike Shin Godzilla, but I can respect its brilliance. My gut tells me that Naja looks ugly. That doesn't mean I should think it is bad character design.
That's a great point, because just because something is visually unattractive doesn't mean the artist didn't intentionally do that. Because everyone knows artistry is difficult, and if you can't make something beautiful, that's because you're learning how to make art. And even the artist who knows how to make beauty can always learn, or can always figure out how to make something unattractive by virtue of knowing what is beauty, or what the opposite is. That's how it goes. So,
and that is a skill in itself. From you just make it ugly because you can't do it right, you're incompetent, to you make something specifically ugly.
Yeah, it's
that
kind
it
of...
will look very different.
It's kind of like the person who likes drawing shapes or circles or certain... I like drawing triangles. I'm going to make everything out of triangles because it's just fun to do, as opposed to learning how to draw, I don't know, any other geometry the proper way. So they draw... I know this lady, she all she draws is rabbits. She paints them constantly. Like, that's her thing.
So she draws everything out of rabbits?
No, she only... it's like how Bob Ross...
and the people?
No. Think of Bob Ross only doing landscapes, right? That's all he would do. This person only draws rabbits. It's the same idea. And
yes, okay, but I was smart. I was trying to make a joke.
Oh, yeah?
You notice this way that you use geometric shapes in order to position things and characters.
Sure, but it is very possible.
She just uses rabbits to do that instead.
It's very possible she does other things with drawing rabbits in other scenarios. I have no idea, but it's always the same profile. It's always the same head shape. It's always the same ear shape. It's the same rabbit over and over again, different colors.
Oh yeah. I know a couple artists like that. They make very interesting things. They even learn really good lighting and coloring and such, but the characters are always the same.
Yeah.
They get more detailed, more qualitative, but it's always the exact same angle and character, but with minor differences. I'd say it's a developmental stage, but you need to force yourself out of that.
Yeah, it's like they're comfortable there. They think this is, and obviously they have some skill to even get there, but they stay there. And I'm going to keep doing characters like this. It's like, you can, but how about, form and figure and lighting and shade and perspective and all kinds of other great things. And they just can't go to that level, or they don't know how, or they don't want to. Yeah.
The movie wants him to look ugly. What if the film wants me to judge him just as the whole world does? Opinions are like assholes.
Okay.
Everyone has one. Sharing it is easy.
Oh no.
Sharing analysis is much harder. Being able to evaluate craftsmanship with unbiased eyes is a fundamental skill required for film study.
What?
Critics, listen. I'm tired of scrolling through your
Oh,
social
skip through
media.
it.
You need to write the Suicide Squad if you are feeling fan purchase. Establish
Right. Yes, I write a Suicide Squad.
Part 2.
Be good.
Next is a sign I find most telling. If someone thinks every movie sucks for the same reasons, chances are they are not critiquing, They're doing social commentary. Nothing wrong with social commentary, we do it too. But I feel video...
Well, there was a time where we could certainly all critique the same thing about certain movies, like lens flares, everything being blue, everything being beige.
Yeah, this is...
Everything being too vibrant or too desaturated.
This is a very generic...
Those were phases.
Yeah, it's a very generic thing he's saying, so I want to know if he's specific to a genre or a critic, or what is he getting at here?
Yeah. And we definitely have phases in movies and in the aspects of how they're made visually, how scenes are cut, the camera angles being used.
Oh yeah.
There was a time where Dutch angles were everywhere. They're still being used wrongly in most cases, but they're not as abundant anymore right now.
Yeah, I always.
And
go ahead.
Yeah, and then we have thematic phases. Like end of the 90s, we had the Matrix phase, and Matrix wasn't the first Matrix movie in that regard. We had we had my favorites are Dark City and the 13th Floor. They came out before Matrix, I believe. At least in the same year.
I was gonna mention the use of cinematography as it evolves, like not just color, but like even we talked about I talked about the Bourne Identity, or the Bourne movies where they use not the shaky cam, but it's the body cam, so it feels like you're jumping along with Bourne and he's going through windows and all that stuff, and then other film goers or other filmmakers tried to replicate that.
That reminds me, I still haven't watched Hardcore Henry.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I missed that in the cinema.
Well, I was going to get to the Bond film Quantum of Solace, where they tried to emulate that, and they just did not know anything about, or not. They didn't know how to keep the not the gyros. There's a certain rig you put on to those mobile cameras on the body, and it was just like shaking all over the place. You couldn't even see what the action was in the first film.
I mean, shaky cams need to die, especially when it's for your multi-billion-dollar action movie. They need to die.
I think
if you spend a bazillion dollars on your action movie, you can hire a choreographer, you can hire stuntmen, and you can have a proper action scene where we can see what's going on, and not just your close-up, 3 frames cut things where there's limbs flying about somehow. Like I'd rather have the low-budget anime that has a fight scene where both are just punching forward, but there's 3 million airstrike curves going about the screen that indicate that they're actually doing thousands of punches at the same time, but we only see one. I'd rather have that.
Well, if they just
than the close-up shaky cam in a real-life movie.
If they just use a steady cam and were doing the stunts alongside the way they did in the Bourne movies, there would be plenty of motion anyway. You wouldn't have to have the camera moving like it's on a tirade, just moving around. So if they just said, hey, maybe it's more important that the audience knows what's going on than having this crazy technique that we don't know what to do. So,
but even more glad I am that the era is over. It's very few people that still do it.
Yeah.
Of the just hand cam for letting everything look like a documentary or found footage thing. That was worst in Battlestar Galactica.
It depends.
While I like the Battlestar for its sci-fi, for its characters, I hate the camera work. I want to strangle somebody with it and then buy a tripod and whack everybody who's responsible for not having the camera on a tripod. Because you have scenes there where the hand cam in Battlestar. So it's these things are heavy, and like being a cameraman that has to just hold this thing on his shoulder. That is a brutal job. Those people are bloody heroes, and they're wrecking their bodies with that. But in Battlestar, because you get exhausted, the thing is, they're also instructed to, hey, do this random stupid tourist zoom thing that idiots at home do, where oh look, there's mommy and
digital zoom,
and the kid coming up the hill, and then they do the zoom back and forth, and Nobody in the industry really does this. You do this for very, very specific things.
I do
and
like...
in Battlestar, it was just constantly going back and forth. The camera was moving around, and they added further movements in post because my bloody autism noticed there's a fucking repetition. There's a pattern that this thing moves in. I think it was a double or triple triangle that the camera wobbles. It's horrible because at that point, my bloody autism then isn't even seeing the show anymore. It's just seeing the pattern of the camera move.
That reminds me of the inspiration from BSG, which was Stargate Universe used BSG as an inspiration, so the stories are kind of similar. And they had a literal Kino, a literal flying probe.
Called it that, yeah.
And they call it the Kino. And I thought that was like, okay. And the cameras were relatively, like they weren't moving around like crazy. And they were normal. And I thought, yeah, this is what you should probably do because they can't probe gates anymore. So they need to use some alien technology and they used a flying ball.
A drone.
Yeah. Perfect idea.
Yeah. But I'm not done yet because that camera in Battlestar, it was not just doing this... repetitive motion of moving around and this random zoom in, zoom out. It would also tilt and I mean it would rotate, and it would also sometimes when the cameraman got tired, it would truly tilt forward like to the ground for a second, and they left that in, and I was just I'm trying to listen to this character. It's a really intense moment was the one time when Adama spoke to his son, and that was really emotional scene. It was really good writing, and the camera it couldn't even focus on the character anymore, on the actor, because the cameraman got too tired. It's absolute insanity. That show overdid it so much that I would have hoped that everybody afterwards would have stopped it, but instead they all adopted it.
Yeah. So the idea behind these things which are bad is you're taking away something very simple and for granted the audience which should have, which is clarity, whether that's clarity of speech or visuals or audio. Everything should be clear to the audience, and even with clarity you can still obfuscate and hide stuff and make it more complicated. It's like a jigsaw puzzle or like a Where's Waldo puzzle. It's always like, okay, everything's given to you, but you just can't see it. So that's what you try to do in these stories, or at least you should be doing.
Don't do things that make your audience nauseous.
Oh, yeah.
Unless that's your intention. Because I couldn't, the first time Battlestar ran on TV, I couldn't watch it because it made me nauseous.
Well, the idea behind...
And I only rewatched it a few years ago, I think during the late stage of the coup or sometime, when a friend whom I talked a lot about all the sci-fi shows with all through the night, he's a really big fan of Battlestar, and I said, okay, for your sake, I will watch it, and it was good, and there were great moments in it, but there were, most of the time, I couldn't look at the screen directly.
Right. It's the skill of the artist to make ugly things in the appropriate way that is specific to do that reaction to the audience that he was talking about previously, about the ugly character that's, maybe this is the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be ugly. So we do that with horror. How do we scare people? What's the science behind that? What's the aesthetics behind that? And that is part of the usage of the techniques for visuals, and there's all the other things that do freak people out, like the jump scares, which you should not do too much in any production because it just gets old and tiresome. So there's certain ways to do it.
We need a moratorium of jump scares for the next 20 years.
Jump scares, lens flares, high-pitched sounds, like all kinds of flashes on the screen, like things you just should not do in general.
The Star Wars Imperial siren. That needs to stop for 10 years.
The red alert thing, yeah.
Yeah, the woo,
yeah,
that thing.
We had that in Mass Effect. That was great. or at least for the
And no more Wilhelm
advertisements.
screams for 20
No
years.
Wilhelm screams. Yeah. See, that becomes its own trope. That becomes its own pattern in cinematography.
It's been its trope for too long.
Yeah.
There's movies who put it in twice.
Yeah, I know.
Like one time I can understand and it just annoys me. Because it's not an Easter egg anymore when everybody knows it and everybody can hear it, because in that moment you destroy the suspension of disbelief. Because now that we all can identify it, it will take us out of the movie when we hear it. You cannot use the Wilhelm scream anymore. Not for at least a generation.
You know, we were actually talking about the two major elements of the book I wrote. And it was, the second one was clarity, and the first one was willing suspension of disbelief or verisimilitude. So, yeah, I remember writing about this like a decade ago. Anyway.
Plenty. Now, I don't want to target anyone, so let's use a ridiculous hypothetical example. Imagine a reviewer who thinks all modern Hollywood movies are bad because the unrealistic, strong female characters are emasculating young men. I know this sounds like a stupidly unrealistic belief, but just
Well, they're not all doing it.
No.
But the ones that are doing it tend to be pretty bad.
Yeah.
Because, well, you can do... There is a way to make even that story work. But that's not what these movies are doing, because they're all made by incompetent people who can't even shield their own propaganda. And propaganda never works. It's an anti-product.
as an excuse? Let's ask why. No, seriously, try it. It's super effective at poking holes in arguments. Sue Storm is too powerful. Okay, why is that a bad thing?
Did you really just ask that?
Yeah, I don't think we have to talk about Galactus versus Sue Storm. That's kind of goofy.
It's that's the guy who's the most powerful thingy ever in everywhere, and she is supposed to be 1/4 of a team. Not the do everything by herself. This is the Captain Marvel problem.
Is Sue Storm's ability, she manipulates the electromagnetic spectrum or something like that? She can control energy in some...
I don't remember. We need to get Ginga in here.
Yeah.
Who is late.
He's late.
Again.
Anyway, yeah,
Always. It's fine.
no one can stand up against a galactic god, okay? Just just normal logic.
Critic, asking yourself this question will help you improve your writing immensely. Firstly, why does unrealistic automatically...
That implies the critic is the writer? No. What you should have said is, if you're a writer, you should listen to the critics who make this judgment or this critique.
means
Female
bad.
Silver Surfer was also
Cinema
done.
is full of unrealistic...
You know, they could have done Nova, but no, we need to make the Silver Surfer a woman. Like, and then they don't even make her pretty.
Oh, really? Oh, well.
Well, she's blocked. She's a blocky rectangle that's flat.
Oh, they... What?
Give it to Japan. They'll make the women right.
Yeah, I know. They know what
And
they're
the
doing.
women are and they have way fewer women who look like that, and still they get it right because they just know what is beauty.
hero love. Secondly, if strong women undermine masculinity, then why don't strong men also undermine femininity?
What? No, you would undermine femininity if men would give birth.
What? How? Okay, let's... So let's imagine we have a gay man and he's feminine in a movie, and he's more attractive, he's more womanly, whatever, as whatever. You're thinking, okay, that would be a weird storyline. Who would watch that? Do guys want to watch that? Probably not, unless it's a comedy or there's a high degree of irony in
Zoolander?
The male bimbo, is that the idea?
Zoolander.
I guess.
You have seen Zoolander.
Oh yes, I have. I'm just trying to see. Is he more feminine than the women in this story?
Well, they're pretty boys who.
Yeah, but that's...
I don't know who they're attracting actually.
Yeah, that's the joke. They're really in their own world, but they're so stupid. That when they try to get out of their own world, they're like, what? What do you mean? It's a small building. How are people going to fit in there? Like, what? Anyway.
I can't believe I saw that in the cinema.
I think I did too, actually.
I didn't expect to see it. It was in a sneak peek, so I didn't know what was coming. And I was like, oh no, not the gay movie.
The gay.
And then I thought it was a gay movie because you have these pretty boy supermodels who were wearing all these gay clothes that nobody in the real world would ever wear unless he's gay. And it's just I was just laughing my ass off. It was great. Watch Zoolander if you haven't.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what he's trying to get at here. He may have a point. I just don't know. I'm sure there's men who are very feminine than other women.
His mistake is that he attributes. So his question is absolutely. I can't even say a non sequitur. It's not even a non sequitur. It's a complete mistake of reality, misassessment of reality. Where his statement was, why then are strong men not undermining women?
No.
Because that makes no sense.
No sense. Can a male be more feminine than a woman, or can a woman?
No. But like, why? How is the Thing, or the Hulk, because he's so strong, not undermining the strength of women?
Yeah, but you have to then say, what is female strength? What is the qualities of a woman that a man can supersede or be better at? And you're like, okay, give us an example.
They're completely different scales, different realms of strength.
Yeah, so if you have, I don't know, a baking competition, or a ballet competition where women are more elegant and more refined, and the men are more bulky and not as flexible, that could be a feminine quality right there. So, still regarding strength, I'm assuming. So we could try to do that, but that's why but we've known about ballet for thousands of years now.
Because if a woman's strength is not physical, unless she's a mother of two and is using the babies as weights, which you automatically will.
That's kind of funny.
It's insane.
Anyway, this is a weird analogy or a weird comparison to make a juxtaposition of male versus female. And you're like, what are you talking about? What exactly would a male be doing that's feminine and being better at it?
That was just insane, because you are we both are giving the benefit of the doubt that he understood that the strength of both is different and doesn't rely on physical strength in the female. But that is what he is implying.
Yeah, I don't know.
Women's strength is in dark magic, which is translated lying.
Anyway.
Manipulation. And if you want to be good at that, you become a politician.
If there's a way for women to, I don't know, be technically better at fighting or some physical skill, then let's see that, and then hire that person to act in your film and have her do that to men. That'd be great. She'd be like a jiu-jitsu master or something. I don't know.
Well, and then it could only be technical, because in a real fight, it would still be the man who'd win.
I don't mind a martial art fight where the woman is like a martial art master fighting a big strong dude and she wins. That's okay by me.
Yeah, we all loved Kill Bill.
Yeah, that's a great example.
And, yeah. On the other hand, if we talk about reality, because every time we deal with suspension of disbelief, we are dealing with how far from reality can we stretch until it becomes this is too much, and this is in itself inconsistent. Because you can have magical stuff in your story, no question, but you need to have an explanation as to why things work differently in the magical world, and they need to be internally consistent, because once they stop doing that, nothing makes sense anymore, because anything goes, and when anything goes,
that's why
nothing is.
That's why even the stuff with we say mythic, like people with superpowers, that's the Marvel movies. Even with that, they have its own rule set, and even if that was if Sue Storm was like Bobby Storm or whatever, it doesn't matter if it was male or female. It would just be stupid because you can't go up against a galactic creature like Galactus. It would just, you can't do that. It doesn't even make sense. So to break rules for that concept is, you would never do that in a story. You have to be consistent with your rules if it's fantasy or science fiction or mythos. Anyway.
Then why isn't it equally bad? If your answer is men are naturally stronger in real life, then we loop back to the question of why does unrealistic equal bad? If the
I mean, that scene right there with the green-clad policeman. We go back. Yeah, I have 2 bars here now. Here, I mean, that could actually work because these are German policemen.
Is this Lucy? What is this movie called?
Atomic something. It was in the corner.
Atomic Blonde?
Atomic Blonde.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And those are our old police cars. Would you look at them? There's this nice green and white. They're friendly. These are our old police uniforms. Because the German, so for one, this is also why we call them forest masters.
Oh.
Because it's green, and it's a pun on the term Wachtmeister, which is the guards master. And Waldmeister, forest master, sounds almost the same. And they couldn't even take this as insults because it's an actual honorable job description. But yeah, this is our old police, and it was nice. And the credo in Germany always was the police, your friend and helper, and that's what it was. And now they wear these horrible black overalls that they're totally blue. They're blue. They're actually blue. Yeah, if you look really close and with really strong light, they're dyed so dark a blue that it looks black, like private security. And it's just not fun anymore. There's still lots of good people there, but there are more and more assholes lately too. And it's the cars are now blue and white or blue and silver, as they are all over Europe, and they're all homogenizing everything. I want our nice green and white police cars back. And all this cool stuff. Like, look, that's a cool police uniform, isn't it? Like you have a shirt and a tie and a vest, and over that then you have the jacket. And it's just there's class to it. And a nice hat. I don't even know if they still have the nice hats.
Well, I guess.
But yeah, they weren't that good at fighting because and that's not their fault. That is not their fault,
okay.
Really, because they don't get enough. They don't. This is the regular policeman.
So
we also have we also have centurions. They're like football teams. You don't want to meet them. They're there to root out human trafficking rings, and I've seen them. Those are little space marines. I'm not kidding. But these guys, they don't get enough training. Is the problem.
All right. So the assumption
they have tonfa, but they can't use. They don't know how to use it. They get like 2 hours with them.
The idea then is that these guys who are policemen are just the average Joe, and the Atomic Blonde is some high-ranking spy chick, so she can fight. That's the idea.
Yeah,
I'm assuming.
Sorry for I had to gush and compliment our nice police force a bit because they don't get enough love, and they have to go through a lot of stress, especially lately, and the judiciary isn't always on their side.
Okay.
I want them to stand up and just detain the people who give them illegal orders.
Great.
Find your courage.
Okay.
Civilization is upheld by the spines of good people.
All right, let's get back to aesthetics.
Realistic equal bad. If the argument is that Hollywood overdoes this trope, then we are not critiquing a movie, but a social trend. And that's fine, but let's call it what it is. No two films are the same. Thus,
What? Call it what?
The social trend, meaning a girl power,
trend?
a girl boss, whatever you want to call it.
That's not a social trend. That's an ideological trend pushed by a tiny minority with very loud mouths and too much money that's trying to socially engineer us all into believing what they want us to believe, and it somehow never works. That's not a social trend. The social trend is we all hate that shit.
Well,
That's what That's why I call it an anti-product.
He's showing movies that we know are bad, and it's because of the women acting like superheroes, either in a romanticized way or a mythic way or in a high mimetic way where they're beyond the average Joe and they're like kicking their ass. The thing with Mulan though is that she is so powerful, and it's just
in the live action, yeah,
it's so goofy, and you're like, this is not even entertaining anymore. Just she's flying around the room.
It's beyond Mary Sue.
Well, if
there is such a thing.
What's the subgenre called? Is it wire fu or some sort of element to it? If that's the idea, then it's fine.
I'm fine with wire fu, but it doesn't. Mulan doesn't have enough training, even in the real life thing, for that. But we have amazing, strong female characters that we always brought up right from the start, because we all knew that these ideologues were just lying. They had to pretend that strong female characters didn't exist so that they could justify writing these deranged Mary Sues. Because if we compare them, we would see, we had well-written female characters, and, well, we all know and love Lara Croft, at least the old one, the original one, not this weird, whiny, ugly bitch that they use now in the games. We had Samus Aran from the Metroid games that Anita Sarkeesian couldn't even pronounce right. She was such a gamer that she called Samus Aran Seamus.
What?
She said Seamus.
Well, they showed...
And they hated Bayonetta until they embraced Bayonetta to a gay icon, and then got upset that in the woke Bayonetta 3, she was still... heterosexual because she had a child with Luca.
Well, I mean, he showed Sarah Connor in the latest, or one of the latest silly movies from Terminator. But I mean, film has already had all kinds of strong women. We talk about romantic stories or science fiction stories. Like people don't like bringing up, like, what's her name, Lilu, I think, is that what they called her in The Fifth Element? Because she was created, she's like she's literally the supreme being. And you think, okay, well, she's supposed to be supreme and strong and smart and whatever. But
she has like mega DNA.
Yeah, but she's also a fish out of water. So there's this nice sort of like, she's good and very good in certain areas, but she's also completely incompetent in others. So we have all kinds, like Princess Leia and Ellen Ripley. That's a big one we bring up a lot. And
I mean, that's a good example, and the same is true for Samus Aran, because she's genetically engineered, which basically means you have a super being that just happens to be like a human woman.
Yeah,
happen to look like a human woman.
And the mode of communication or the mode of storytelling with I'd say all the Metroid games, not just Prime. I always reference Prime, but it's not like we need her to be a character. She's just functionally a female, and that's it. There's nothing else about it. We don't need to know. I think, what was that silly...
it's not relevant that she's female.
No, it's not. That's the thing. Like, she's just a female. That's the suit, and you can't tell that from the NES version because it's so small, but once they say, okay, obviously everyone knows she's a female, let's make the suit a little more feminine, it's like, yep, that's fine. No one cares.
Oh, no. People only knew that from the suit being taken off if you finish the game quickly.
In the NES version, exactly. But the sprites of the suit before that was like, it's just a spaceman running around doing backflips and whatever. So it's so immaterial to the function of the art, which is the game, which is side-scrolling adventure. No one cared. It was like, wow, she's wearing a leotard. Whoop-dee-dee. Like, who cares?
Yeah, but that's the problem for the ideologues. They need us to care that she is a woman. They couldn't stand that we were at the point of non-sexism where we truly didn't care anymore.
Well,
and non-racism where we truly didn't care anymore.
The funny
which
thing,
allegedly is what the communists want.
Okay, well,
but they weren't far ahead enough with having total power to build the Orwellian state, and so we didn't care anymore about these things meant that they couldn't draw us further to their side anymore.
Well, I do like the explanation that was it Miyamoto when he talked about making Super Mario Brothers. Like, they didn't have much to work with because obviously it's only 8 bits of memory. So it's like how do we make a human-looking person on the screen? It's like, well, give him a mustache. That's a noticeable facial element that we could easily give him a hat. It's like, okay, we'll give him bigger hands and bigger feet. Yep, there we go. That's all we got. We'll call him Italian plumber because he goes down pipes. Italians stereotypically are plumbers. It's like, okay, sure.
Right.
That's it.
There is a Mario Luigi duo in Brazil.
Yeah.
Beautiful. We watched that movie, but necessarily not when you were already feeling down.
Well, the idea was they did what they could with the palette they had, and that's it. There's no extra messaging behind that. It's not because Mario couldn't be Maria, nothing like that. It's just that's what they went with. No one cared.
Yeah. Big white gloves because that's easier to see.
Exactly.
Because you want when you have this little space to work with, you need very big good contrast to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with
No two are bad for the same
movies,
reason.
Oh my god.
Are bad for the same reason. Take critic Christy Lemire, whom I used to love until she gave live-action Mulan a positive review. Now I only respect her. She criticized both Mulan and the Marvels for lack of emotional connections, but in very different ways.
Uh-oh.
For Mulan, the issue was performance. Liu's performance might have been more powerful if she'd been a bit more emotive. For the Marvels, it was narrative focus. But Larson and Paris, while individually charismatic and commanding, can only do so much to convey the heartache of a shared trauma when it's wedged in between blandly frantic action sequences.
Blandly frantic. That's funny.
Right, this movie came out, right?
It
existed.
What was it
I have
called?
not seen it.
The Marvels?
The Marvels.
No, God.
Yes, the most reject characters of all time.
Yeah, I don't think I will ever want to watch that.
Brie Larson, the girl from the Nonsense series, who would have been killed 50 times over by the Muslims in her country because she was using magic. And the Black Marvel from the other dimension thing that literally only existed in that other movie and now is in this. Just so there's a Black Captain Marvel. Great, wonderful. You go, Marvel Studios. You go.
Yay.
You're doing fine.
These are not in-depth analysis. They are spoiler-free reviews. Yet, even here, Lemire's critiques are tailored. In criticizing the visual of the Marvels, she doesn't just say it looks bad. She points out the fake
nice.
prop, the poor compositing, and the tasteless lighting. She uses 3 examples to assess only the visual, then combines visual with story, acting, and even musical score to give a final conclusion. It's a review built from the ground up.
What's the problem?
That
sounded decent.
What's the argument behind a review built from the ground up? That sounds normal.
Yeah, and it sounds like that was the best she could tell about the movie, which is nice.
He didn't like it because it was not in depth enough.
I don't know. Maybe he wants the strong women to be more praised.
He's making the right assessment saying, well, she gave Marvel's a bad score because of whatever, but she gave Mulan a higher score because the actress wasn't as emotive as enough. So she's applying, or the critic is applying different reasoning for her criteria, and apparently the criteria might be different as well. I don't know.
Yeah. Tyler Preston corrects me that the black woman was from the WandaVision show, and I'm sorry I didn't watch through that.
No.
I don't need any cluster B personality disorder shows. I've had enough of that in my life.
Yeah, you have to like Wanda as a character in the comics, then you see the actress as on the show, and you're like, that's not Wanda. That's something else.
And the story doesn't make sense, or rather is evil.
I don't know.
I don't. Why do I need the main character to be evil in the end and then get away with it?
Oh, that feels
and
good.
nobody do anything about it. That's horrible.
What a great feeling that must be. Let's watch a film where the main character's bad and wins. Like, oh.
And yeah, and well, oh no, but we need to be nice because she's a woman, and so we should forgive her that she tormented several hundreds of people and for months.
For her selfish reasons of wanting a family or something. I can't remember the story.
Yeah.
Anyway. Another thing I'm never going to watch.
Gut reaction is often binary. Either it's good or bad. But to critique a film is to engage with every aspect of it. Story, visuals, editing, music, performances.
Wait, so what was missing from the Marvels review? That's what you needed to say. Not just what she did include in the review, but also in her critique. But what was it that she left out?
I want to know what he considers a good review, because you would not use the same criteria to evaluate those two films. It would have to be different. Like, that's by its very.
I mean, he's giving us the list of his criteria that he wants included, or a maybe an incomplete list. But you are right that in a review, what we mainly will focus on is what are the main elements of the story, what are the domains it focuses on, the attributes. So if it is a Bollywood movie, we will need to definitely address and critique separately all the dance scenes and the little music video interjections of whether they are of any decent quality, whether they disrupt the movie, are they well blended into the movie, what is their cheesiness level, and so on. While something like that does not need to be addressed in a movie that doesn't have that element in the first place.
Yeah, I think he's either saying the standards are different, which they should be, or they should have the same standards and she's not using them. And I'm like, okay, but which exactly should she be using for this general assessment? I want to know.
Rarely does a single element define the entire film. A good movie can have weak spots, and a bad one can still shine in places. Bad CGI didn't stop The Mummy from being fun. Good VFX doesn't make Transformers a masterpiece.
I hated that scene.
This is just my speculation, but if someone dismisses an entire movie with a single criticism, let alone a recycled one, then they're just reverse engineering a reason to justify their gut feeling.
You're doing the opposite at the same time by just wanting to rescue absolute garbage because the movie did one thing right.
Yeah, you can. Okay, a gut feeling comes to you that you can't describe, that there's something really special, and that could be good or bad. And
yeah,
it's
that's
kind
the
of
subconscious having figured out that something's
it's like a foundational thing. Like, you're thinking, this is not how a movie should start, and you keep watching. You're like, all right, it's going to get better, I think, and it just doesn't do that. Or it does the opposite, where you're like, oh, this is different. Is this good? I think I like this. And you're not even sure because you weren't expecting that. And so long as your expectations of entertainment of the genre you're going into, like a science fiction, starts hitting those notes, you're like, oh, that's why with like Guardians of the Galaxy, the first film, it had just enough for you to say, okay, my attention is going this way. It seems to make sense. I've watched sci-fi before or science fiction before. It's making, it's doing all the basic stuff. And then all of a sudden you get pop culture references. You're like, whoa, where'd that? Oh, this is like music from 30, 40 years ago. What's going on there? And then, okay, my dad could enjoy this. The whole family could enjoy this. And then they have CGI. They have a crazy weird tree man and other fun, goofy stuff. So it's like, this is entertaining for everyone. So that sort of meshes the genres. So you can break and bend some of those rules. And expectations are met. With stuff like, I don't know what film he's looking at right now, but with stuff that's not romanticized or just purely ironic styles of movies or stories, you have to have you follow it. There's a certain formula. You can't just suddenly introduce superpowers or
that there is the new Predator movie.
This one?
Yes.
Oh.
Where it's a bunch of indigenous idiots fighting the Predator.
I never.
And the girl somehow does it.
I can't
while everybody else and the Native American women were not out fighting, just as with every other culture. Because guess what? Guess what keeps the tribe alive internally?
Well, I can't watch past the first one, so...
Hey, the first one's great.
The first one is really good.
The second one is also... I like the second one.
Yeah, I never bothered.
It has subtle humor. It does... I like the idea of switching the jungle for the concrete jungle. I like that. Because that's the whole joke.
I got
It's a complete repetition of the first movie. It's just the level has changed.
All right. Well, I got a donation from Thomas the Anne Frank Engine. Thank you, Thomas. These videos that have titles like Bad Media Critics and Critics Are Lying to You and any alteration usually boil down to this YouTuber criticized a thing I like. It's very childish. A review from the ground up as opposed to top down. The way he said that, he sounded as if the critic was doing their job properly. He just didn't like the assessment, I think. Because when you make an essay or you make an argument, you start from the ground and you work your way up. You start with basics or fundamentals. And you say, I think this way because of X. And then I go from X and I go to Y and Z. So I don't know what point he was trying to make with that scene. Because he was saying, I don't like this critic anymore because she had different opinions on two different films. I'm like, that's fine. You can you can not like Mulan and she can like it, and then you can still enjoy their other critique of other films. They may be having an off day. Maybe they just liked Mulan. I don't know. He didn't explain himself very well there either way.
Oh, I walked by the cinema today. There's a second Zootopia.
Oh, really?
I do not know if I want to know.
I'm glad it finally came out.
There were a couple weird ones. Well, though, I wonder if they redid scenes now that the woke slop era is ending and nobody wants to see the. They accept that nobody wants to see the stuff in the first place.
I thought there was a film by Disney or was Pixar about a bunch of snakes, I think, and they were like. They used to be bad.
The there was a snake, which is probably then the third animal type.
Oh, I don't remember the title, but it was like snakes that were bad and they're being good, but they have to do one more heist or something like that. I'm like, okay, this is obviously for kids.
Snakes on a plane? I
can't remember the title, but it had a bunch of it wasn't just snakes; it had a bunch of animals in it. Anyway. Sorry, what was part 2 about? Did we miss something? I can't remember. Do you remember what part 2? He didn't like
the same as part 1.
He didn't like the critic because they changed their mind about their standard for.
I think the parts should you headlines help.
Yeah, give me a title here.
Headline.
Lastly, and most snobbishly, sorry man, I just don't trust reviewers who, year after year, only ever brings up classic Hollywood blockbusters.
That's fine. What's wrong with that? That's what they like watching.
If every comparison is to the same classics, Terminator, Alien, Indiana Jones...
Wait. You're saying they can't refer to the classics? That's a weird thing to say. It's like, here's the height of cinema in this genre. Let's not use that. Like, why? Why would you not use it? It's like, here's Michelangelo. Let's forget about him. Look to modern art as our standard. It's like, no.
Then they are not really critiquing cinema as a whole.
Why do they need to critique cinema as a whole? They need to critique one film. And you do that by going back on your experiences watching good cinema in the same genre.
Do not conflate the forest with the trees. They're different resolution layers.
Just in pop culture nostalgia.
Oh.
When we did our video...
Okay, that's different though. That's a different thing.
On the disappearance...
the problem is when you say cinema as a whole, then I also think of popcorn and cola prices.
Going downtown and going with your friends or on a date or, whatever. There's all kinds of culture behind going to the cinema.
Yeah, and the lack of a sneak peek.
Oh, yeah.
I want sneak peek every week. Then I go to the cinema.
Well, I mean,
I love sneak peek.
Ever since 30 years ago, there's always been like 10, 20 minutes of trailers. So.
I don't want trailers. I hate trailers. I want sneak peek.
All right.
I want to go to the cinema at a good price, not knowing what I'll watch, so that I'll watch something I otherwise wouldn't. Because there's just movies and with posters and titles that and maybe I'll go out and think like, that was a waste of time, but well, I won't know until I've seen it.
All right.
Hey Ginga, what do you think of sneak peeks?
I don't think he knows what those are.
I see.
Okay then.
Let's continue while Ginga figures his microphone out.
We use Conan the Barbarian and Superman 78 to demonstrate the power of silence. I want to prove the point that even the most mainstream films have powerful silent scenes. So I picked the most popular films.
So you're picking the most popular films, even though you critique the person using only the blockbuster films and nostalgia as references. That's interesting.
Conan the Barbarian is a movie mostly without any dialogue.
I don't think it's a popular film. I think it's a cult classic, but I don't think it was a popular film.
Which reminds me, I haven't seen Krull this year.
Oh, darn.
Damn, I watch Krull once a year. It's great. It's one of my favorite movies. You need to watch Krull.
Okay.
Have you seen Krull?
No.
Oh my god. We need a movie night. Movie night!
No.
Anyway, we're almost done.
And yet, a lot of you haven't seen Conan the Barbarian, have you? Around the same time,
What's your
SAS
point?
Thomas Flight covered basically the same topic. The film
Oh,
he
God,
chose
this
to
is sorry.
demonstrate the power of silence was The Exorcist.
But this isn't a scene from a meditative character drama. Instead, it's from the biggest blockbuster spectacle of that year.
In trying to prove the exact same point, we picked very different films. Hilariously, I have not seen The Exorcist.
What?
Indeed, it's very rare for critics to only ever bring up films you have seen. Take Patrick H. Williams, a YouTube film essayist with a focus on the Hollywood mainstream. James Bond, Spider-Man, Star Wars, The Matrix, all nostalgic franchises you already know.
So you're calling him a hack because he only covers the blockbuster titles? Is that the problem here?
I call him a hack because he says absolute insane bullshit things. We are not the same.
Yeah.
A few months ago, he made a video on the evolution of flying scenes in preparation for the release of Superman. So, where did he begin his story? The 1978 Superman? No, that's what a hack who can tell the difference between a squirrel and a chipmunk would do. Instead, Williams began with the 1924 Peter Pan, a film most of you have never heard of.
What?
It's not just movies either. Friend of the channel, Terrence from Quality Culture.
What? I mean, maybe that specific movie. But it also sounded like he said that people don't know Peter Pan.
Yeah, but why would you go back to 1920s or 30s and say, look what they did back then? He's like, and what's your point? Why would you bother doing that? What, in preparation? Hey, I'm going to use my film knowledge to make a video in preparation for a popular thing that's going to come out so I can get a lot of views. So I'll talk about cinematography in 1920s. It's like, thanks, Patrick. Can't wait.
I am not sure whether he's being haughty about his own film knowledge now or not.
He's trying to say, oh, Patrick's so smart. He went and referenced stuff in the 1920s where they did this technique. And you're like, yes, that's...
Yeah, and then he said Star Wars doesn't need to make sense because it's a kid's movie with space wizards.
all these cinema guys that graduate with these degrees, they have to use their knowledge for something. And you're like, thanks, Patrick. Yes, they used wires. Fantastic. They still use wires. Like, what's your point?
What?
Once
Still
made
no
a deep
magnets?
Yeah.
dive into the Rush Hour series. He contextualizes the films with articles, studies, news reports, and brought on fellow critic FD Signifier to add even more perspectives to his video. That's what good critics do. When they're curious about something, they explore it further.
Collaborations aren't good critics. That's just them trying to get more views. It's like, hey, let me pair up with this YouTuber and we could do a collab and we can say, hey, we're going to do a cool thing next week. Look out. The same with Patrick. Before the film came out, he wanted to load up his audience. Hey, I'm thinking about Superman. Are you thinking about Superman? I'm going to talk about it. Here's the history of flight in cinema. You're like, thanks, Patrick. That's great.
And that is why I don't know whether through your accent it was accident or purpose that you made explore sound like exploit.
No one has seen every movie. The more we branch out, the more we specialize, the more our repertoire diverge. But we don't always remember that. We assume we are the normies, and what we have seen is universal. So when a reviewer references an obscure film as if everyone knows it, is a sign that they are exploring. Conversely, critics who cling to the same films for years reveal a lack of curiosity. It's an obvious sign that someone doesn't see cinema as a field of study. Instead, they cocoon into the nostalgia, seeing every new film through an unchanging lens. The only reason they do, I assume,
does the assortment of movies shown in the background have anything to do with what he's saying right now?
It's possible, but I don't see why you wouldn't use classic films, which are very good for a reason, as a baseline for comparison. Why would you use obscure old things unless you know of them? And it's like, oh, this reminds me of that, and this is how they did it then. Great. No one's heard of that. Is that important to this conversation? Do we need to know movies in the 30s and 40s did this? Maybe. But
no, I will. If we talk specifically about action scenes, I will bring up Fritz Lang's Metropolis, because there is an absolute banger action scene, chase across rooftops at the end that looks like it could have been made today. From the angles, the cinematography, right, the choreography, it grips you, and it's long. But very few people will ever see it these days, and that's not just because it's a really old movie. It's also because it's a really long movie.
Well,
it's almost 4 hours in the normal.
The only reason I can think of bringing up obscure or old stuff is that it's relevant to what you're criticizing or analyzing. And that's to establish a standard of evaluation, saying, okay, there's a car chase scene in this movie that just came out. Let's compare it to one of the classics. And it doesn't have to be a really good film or a popular film. It just has to be a film that's classic to that element. So I think Bullet is one of the more famous ones for car chase scenes. So you'd reference Bullet and compare it to a James Bond film or any other modern film. That's fine, because it's an old film. Not everyone was born at the time of Bullet, of course, and that would be to establish a standard. What makes a good chase scene? So that would make sense. But there's reasons why those films are so good. It's because of those elements. Like John Wick does not have much narrative. It's about the action. It's about the fighting. It's about all the wonderful cinematography and special effects and very choreographed fight scenes. And you could say the same about Rush Hour or a whole bunch of Hong Kong cinema that no one really knows about. There has to be a reason, though. You have to establish a standard from those films. Say, look at the high level of quality they're putting in here, based off cinematography.
Those things are more akin to video game levels, where the narrative, the very little narrative that is there, happens through the progressing environment and encounters. But you don't need to talk. That is God, what was it? It was not Ong Bak, the other one.
Oldboy?
Tony Ya. No. Where he's rescuing his elephant.
Whoa.
you haven't seen that one. Damn.
No, I haven't.
Give me a second. I'll look it up.
I'm going to read a little donation here from gay actor Michael Douglas. Thank you, sir. I take quite a bit of umbrage with this guy's assertions that The Exorcist wasn't a meditative character drama. It absolutely was. The whole movie was about Father Kara's struggling with his faith and his belief in God and his sense of personal failure. There's a lot going on in these films. It's not just horror. And it may seem kind of kitschy and old style, but they're classics for a reason. There's many reasons why. All right, we're gonna keep going. Minute left.
I need to sort my Asian movies.
Your Search for Elephants. It's a martial arts film. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, but well, it's they take away his elephant, and he then goes through and rescues it from being eaten.
Basically, John Wick.
Basically John Wick, yes.
Okay. Go Google it. We'll keep going.
They believe they already know all that is necessary. If they aren't learning, then what else are they doing but reinforcing their existing beliefs?
Yeah, but learning what exactly? Is the movie going to teach us something new about the standard they're using to evaluate? If it is, that's great. If not, then why not keep using the same standard? That's the idea. The idea behind a movie coming out or a story coming out is it's going to be better or at least different in a positive light than what you were experiencing in the past. Or else why else would the artist make the thing? So you need to have a standard of quality that would facilitate you wanting to see the film in the first place. It's like, do you like science fiction? Great. Okay, what's in it? Spaceships, superpowers, maybe a prophecy, and everything goes along with that. So wars, battles in space, mystical figures, irony, something going on. Great. Okay, technology is a given. What kind of technology? Does the technology make sense? If not, you're going to get really pissed off. How hard is the science fiction? How is it organic, like with Lex? Everything's a bug, or everyone's organ harvesting the galaxy. That's different. That's neat. Not for everyone, of course.
Bro, you're just jealous they are more popular than you.
No, I'm not dim. I'm aware envy consumes my every waking moment.
Let's be clear. If I really want popularity, I wouldn't have spent time introducing movies you have never heard of. In my experience, the videos that gets the most clicks are often about topics people already know. They are safe, predictable, and comforting. After all, most people come to YouTube for entertainment, not challenge. How often are we excited by difference of opinions?
You can still do both at the same time.
Rambling about that is off the beaten path. To be curious is to be open-minded, and that is 1,000 times more valuable than chasing meaningless popularity. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being a keymaster, willing to open doors and see what's on the other side.
That was weird. I don't think this was a very well thought out script.
That was just random babble.
There was some structure to it, but it just after the first point, it just went. You're like, okay. Huh.
Memes.
A lot of good editing, though. He did a lot of quick cuts.
Yeah, I found the movie. It was Tom Yum Gong.
Really?
2 movies. Go watch them. They're absolutely amazing choreography.
Did we get that in the West?
It has subtitles.
All right. Okay.
I wrote it in the chat.
All right, let's go to the memes. Here we are, October 17th. Yes, it is. What is this? Okay, the 5882300 Empire guy had rolled up. I have no idea what this is. What is this?
You haven't seen the Empire commercials?
What are they? Are they American? I have no
Yeah,
idea.
maybe that's why you haven't seen them.
Well, I do watch some
I do
American
not
TV, but
notice.
not the commercials. Okay.
Fair.
The average video essay enjoyer. Vast catalog of niche internet factoids that he's excited to tell you at a moment's notice. Has all the
Hello.
essayist YouTubers with push notifications on. I cannot sleep without white noise or YouTube videos playing.
Oh.
I don't know. This is...
Yes, the cultured autist sleeps with brown noise.
nah.
White noise is for insane people.
All
What's the
right.
difference?
Yes.
And then the YouTuber made a video essay on your favorite franchise. All right. Her, come over, Bigfoot. I can't. Her, I have a shaky low-res camera. That's good. Data, what the hell is going on? We're under attack, sir. It's J.J. Abrams. That's funny. The Bloom. Director of photography. Cinematographer. Director of cinematography. Cinema rector of directography. What the
fuck?
Cinema rector.
Yes. Cinerector.
How to cripple the LGBT community. What is this?
I have half a mind to delete that right now.
That is...
Yeah, that was Bayonetta 3, the
3.
absolutely woke game where they didn't take the last step and make Bayonetta gay because, well, somehow you had to justify the new reprehensible character that is the daughter Bayonetta. She needed a father, you know.
So Bayonetta is like 7'8" or something ridiculous?
And not in Bayonetta 3. That's they have a new Bayonetta who is smaller, has smaller tits, has the ugly hair of her childhood, which works as a child, but not for the grown-up one, has absolutely giant hands that are double the size of her head. But Luca was always taller than her, if you didn't notice.
Yeah, but you can just sum that up in one word: multiverse.
Yeah, and they decided that this complete bullshit Bayonetta, that doesn't look like Bayonetta at all, is the actual totally real original Bayonetta. And the other ones from 1 and 2, that's not the real Bayonetta. That's what they decided. And this one, from 3, that was the self-insert of the voice actress for Viola. For the daughter.
Well, I was going to think maybe it's a stylistic choice to have bigger hands in the universe, but like Kingdom Hearts is big feet.
You think?
I showed it on the stream I did, and it's ridiculous. This model is ridiculously ugly.
Let's keep going.
Because you can actually directly compare the two. In Bayonetta 3, if you've played through it, you can switch the model out for the original Bayonetta. You can switch back and forth, and you see just the complete size difference of everything.
All right. I don't know what this is, but they'll never know what you sacrificed for them. It's going to travel. I'm going to travel to another universe and kill your mom?
First of all, this is from WandaVision, and second, yes, she does literally do that in Multiverse of Madness.
Is this one scene where they're talking together?
It's one of the last scenes of WandaVision.
Oh my god. Weird.
And again, in Multiverse of Madness, she would go on to do exactly that.
Who is this lady, and why is she? I don't know.
That is the sister of Ben Shapiro.
What the heck is she doing?
She is AI animated.
She looks like a Disney character. Like, what the hell is wrong with her face? Holy shit.
She is a Disney character.
Still looks better than anyone on the left, to be honest.
Oh my
well, that's not difficult.
All
you
right.
only need to look average.
Oh Jesus. Anyway, that was a very odd. I was not expecting that. I thought he would have kept very simple and straightforward. He went crazy a bit with the critiquing the critic he doesn't like anymore because she used different criteria. I'm like, that's fine. You could use whatever criteria is necessary. Especially when you're talking about different films or different genres. The last point, I can't remember. Jeez, what a weird way to... I could probably come up with a better, basic, simpler thing to talk about regarding bad critics. Like, and to say, well, Patrick Willems is good because he referenced a 1924 film. You're like, what?
We need to start filtering people who lack rational capabilities out of university.
Well, either way.
If we can't do it before they get in, at least by the first or second semester, they need to be sorted out.
Either way, that's typical. This sounds like a film student or film grad, and he's just trying to get into the space of YouTube's, which is fine. I just didn't like it that much. Either way, good video to cover. If it was all positive, we'd just be nodding our heads going, yep.
Yeah.
So
I would say one thing on studying film. The first people who made film great, they didn't study film. They just made films.
Well, anyway, guys, thanks for the recommendation. We'll talk to you later. Have yourself a great weekend, I guess. It's the weekend for some people. And maybe we'll be back tomorrow. I don't know. We might be busy. We'll find out. Either way, thanks for the recommendation. Talk to you later. Good night.
Night.